What's up, everybody? This is Cool Game 24 here, and this is my Breaking Bad Season 5 Episode 3 review entitled Hazard Pay. Now, before I start the review, I would like to thank everybody who viewed my video. You know, I'm not doing it for views. I'm just doing it because I love the show, and I just want to get my opinion out there. Okay. The episode starts off with my lawyer coming into prison, visiting an inmate with Mike, and this inmate comes in and he looks familiar, and the manager, he's the manager of the laundromat where Walt worked at, and they caught him. Now he gonna be in jail, and he has a conversation with Mike, telling him that they caught everybody. They're catching everybody. They're about to arrest everyone. Everybody's about to get arrested, and Mike says, he knows, and the guy tells him, the laundromat manager tells him, well, the former laundromat manager tells him, my family, I knew what it was before I got into this deal with Gus. I knew what I was going to do. We knew the risk. And he's like, but they took everything, and I don't know how my family going to survive from this. And Mike's like, yeah, I have something going on right now. And the laundromat manager tells him, with the feds watching you, how? He's like, don't let me worry about that. But this, you're gonna get your money that Gus owed you. You're gonna get your money for your family, and I'm gonna take care of it. And he's like, you have my word on it. And the laundromat manager is like, okay. And then after that scene, we see Walt moving back in the house with Skyler, because he never really moved out. He never really moved in. Because of all the stuff with Gus. So, he puts all the stuff in it. He puts on the stuff, but then you see a key scene where he looks at Walt. I think Walt Whitaker. The Thing. I forgot what book it called, but it's similarity. It's similar as the memories from when Gail got murdered, because Gail gave him that book, and he smiles at it like it's like a past in the past. After that, he has a brief conversation with Skyler. She tells him, you moving back in, you moving out. Is that wise? And you see, she's scared out of her mind. She's real scared. I'm happy about that. Yeah, I'm happy that she feared Walt. I'm happy that she knows who Walt is. And I'm happy that she knows him. I'm kind of happy that she knows him, because I really didn't like her character. But later on, I'm gonna feel a little bit bad for her. After that scene, you see Mike. You see Mike sitting there, and he was guarding the door. You see Saul, Jesse, and Heisenberg talking about the Mike situation. And Saul was like, yeah, man, why would you have it was 3 of us already, man. It was me, you, and Jesse. We don't need a 4th guy. It was just us 3. And he's like, no. Heisenberg was like, no, he knows the business. That's why I put him as a partner. He knows everything. He knows the connection. He knows everything. So that'd be a good choice. It was a good choice. It was me and Jesse's choice to bring him in, and he's a good person, And so I was like, he threatened me and stuff like that, but and Walt assured him that, well, that's what he does. He's intimidating people. So he comes in. Saul tells Hugh to let Mike in, and then let's see, yeah, Mike comes in, and then Mike tells, go to ground rules. He laid down some ground rules for Walt. He tells him, I deal with the business. You don't tell me anything about the business. I don't tell anything. I don't tell you anything about chemicals or anything else like that. So as he walk out, as Mike walks out and Jesse walks out, Saul, whispers to Heisenberg, like, you're okay with this? Him telling you what to do? And he's like, well, yeah, for now. But he doesn't know that, he gets the business, but I handle him. And that was the Heisenberg, man. So after that, they go around looking for different types of businesses to cover it up. This is a key thing from what Walt learned from Gus. Like I said before in the last review, the theme is Heisenberg's beating Gus. This is not these episodes until I see something different. The theme is still Heisenberg, going against Walt. Heisenberg going against Gus, my fault. Every episode is Heisenberg learning something from Gus, and he sees this. You see this in the episode where he's trying to find a front business, and in order to start cooking again, and it's going to be low end, but it's still going to make a lot of money. So they looking everywhere, looking all over the place for different types of businesses so they can start cooking, and they couldn't find none until they found a chop shop, I think. And they looked around, and they being thorough about it, and you see, with his experience, Heisenberg made a good choice about giving in to Mike. Let Mike be a partner in the business. And they looking around and they're like, well, we can't find anything we like. So Walt comes up with the brilliant idea. He sees a tin on the ground, and Walt is smart, so he looks down and asks everybody, like, he asks Saul about a bombing company, I think a fumigation company, or I forgot what it's called. The people that bomb your house and you can't come in there for weeks. So Walt devised a plan to, like, every single house that they have, every single house that get bombed, they cook meth in there. And within a day, they can move in the equipment, cook the meth, then move out, and then without it being noticed. So Saul comes, Saul with his contacts finds this fumigation people that deal with illegal activity, and they keep their mouth shut. So here goes the business. So now we see Skinny Pete and Badger in there, getting some equipment. At first I thought they was playing around. I thought they was going to be involved in a business like the previous seasons, but that's not the case. They was just there to buy some equipment, so it can be more convenient for Walt and Jesse to come in and out these houses, make this operation successful. So we see a brief conversation with Badger and Skinny Pete, and they trying to be friendly with him, like, yeah, I see you back in business. And he says, yeah, and he looks at he looks at him as like, he's real serious. He's not trying to deal with them. And I think this is the transformation of Jesse, in my opinion. It's the super transformation of Jesse. Like I said before, he's getting more mature, he's getting better, he's getting smarter by being around Walt. He's finally learning how to do he's finally learning the way. He's finally getting common sense and getting a little bit more, being smarter. It's rubbing off on him. His brilliance is rubbing off on Heisenberg's brilliance is rubbing off on Jesse. So they start the operation. They about to start the operation. They trying to find different things after the Skinny Pete thing going on. After that, conversation, and you see after that scene, let's see, you see Mike laying the ground rules for the fumigation dudes. The workers telling them, don't lead any tracks. He's vetting them. Tells them, if you see Jesse and Walt, they're like ghosts. If they actual question, one of them is yes and no. They're the bosses and you're the workers. If you got something to say, and if they tell you to do something, you do it. And and Jesse and Walt loved it. They loved it. They loved the fact that they had somebody to intimidate somebody else. So so Heisenberg doesn't have to. And this is great. I think this is what Heisenberg planned all along. A termination factor that Mike holds in his hand. He's an intimidating guy. He's a dangerous person. Having him on your side is like having like a small army on your side, or a whole small army of contacts with Saul and Mike. So that was a good decision on Heisenberg. So after that scene, Mike telling the workers to do stuff, we see a very, 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 very like interesting scene. I can't find the words now, but it's a crazy scene right here as we see Jesse telling Walt how to how they gonna move the stuff in and out, and they're gonna use a small tank and stuff. And you see, as I said before, Jesse is getting smarter. Jesse is getting more mature. He's getting better at what he as an overall person, because he's learning from Heisenberg. And okay, before I start again, I said I was gonna start calling him Heisenberg, but I'm gonna switch it. I'm gonna switch it variations until I see, like, last week was Heisenberg. He's still Heisenberg, but this week I'm gonna just he's Walt, because he hasn't done anything that's Heisenberg like yet. In this episode, it's more like Heisenberg is asleep and Walt, he woke up, but he's still half Heisenberg. But now I'm gonna call him until I feel that he's acting Heisenberg like. I'll call him Heisenberg the episode. If he's acting Walt, I just call him Walt. Okay, continue with the review. As we see Jesse, talking to Walt, Andrea walks in about the business. Jesse and Walt was talking about the business. Andrea walks in and invites Walt to dinner, to have dinner with them. So, but then we see a scene where, he introduced himself. He introduced himself to Brock, the same kid he poisoned, the same kid he poisoned, and he sees him. So, Andrea and Mike's go in the kitchen for the, they getting prepared for dinner and stuff, and then he sits next to Brock. And this is like cinematography at its best. I mean, not at its best, but you see him sitting right next to Brock, the same kid he poisoned, and he looks at him like, it looks like he has no, type of remorse, like it never happened. So, after that, we see a scene with the fumigators fumigating somebody's house. And they go through the rules and stuff like that. And after that, Jesse and Walt comes in and cooks the meth. So after that scene, you see Jesse and Walt sits there and have a beer. And this scene really symbolizes Walt and Jesse's relationships and how far it went, because now Jesse and Walt is on the same level as each other. You know, he might manipulate him a little bit, but I think deep down inside he does really care about him. He cares about him a lot, because he tells him, he gives him some advice about Andrea and tells her, you shouldn't keep a secret from her if you love this person. Jesse tells Walt that he loves Andrea, and he thinks he wants to spend his rest of his life with her. But Walt tells him that if you really want to, if you really love her, you should tell her, because he tells from the experience he had with Skyler. But I think Andrea, in my opinion, she's way more built for the street life than Skyler. I don't know if Walt has some kind of intention for him not to have a girlfriend and for him to just focus on work, because I think that's what it was, or if he did give him good advice. But he should have came to the fact that Andrea is a lot more tougher than his wife. She wouldn't flip out. She probably would know that if he did something like that, she probably would at least understand or try to she's not stupid. Even the conversation, she's like, Jesse said she's not stupid. She probably know I'm a drug dealer. And he says, well, secrets build bridges. I mean, build walls up. And everything we do, we have to live with. So he tells him, and this one line that symbolizes the Jesse and Walt dynamic. He said, all the things we've been through, I trust you. You deserve that. I really do trust you, eh? And that's kind of like the high point, the super high point of Jesse's and Walt relationship in season 5. Now, Walt finally feels comfortable around Jesse. You see them spending time with each other that none of the seasons ever happened before. They was always fighting, or Walt was always telling Jesse what to do. He never saw him as an equal. Now he sees him as an equal, and it's like it's surprising, And Jesse, he's getting more mature, and I really like this. I really like to see this in TV shows, because development is very hard. Some shows do not develop their characters this good. A lot of the top shows don't develop their characters this good. It takes a long time, but to do this in 5 seasons is very good, especially with a tormented person like Jesse and everything that he went through, and somebody as dark as Walt, aka Heisenberg. So after that scene, we see Marie and Skyler talking, and she's rambling about all this other stuff, and then she brings up Walt's birthday coming up, and we see Skyler just flips. She tells Marie to shut up, and she has a nervous breakdown. So Marie comes over to have a conversation with Walt about the breakdown that Skyler had, and Walt, in order to protect himself, now this is Heisenberg tells Marie to about the Skyler and Ted affair, and she tells Heisenberg tells her that he had an affair and he tripped, and she's kind of still shaken up about the situation where Ted couldn't walk and everything else like that. And Marie seems surprised, like, how could my sister not tell me about an affair? So she feel kind of sorry for Walt, and I think that's gonna damn a dynamic that's gonna really, like, I don't know if it's gonna affect Skyler and change her character and make her more darker or more scared. I don't know. I really don't know, because I really don't like Skyler as a character. I just don't like her. That's just me. Also, after that, you see Heisenberg, walks over to the apple where he looks down the door after Marie leaves and looks at her like, that's a cinematography right there too. That's a good cinematography right there too. My fault. Let's see. Yeah, cause I'm literally memorizing this stuff. I'm not really looking at the episodes. I'm literally remembering this. That's why it's kind of like I feel like I'm skipping beats and stuff. But bear with me. Let's see. Yeah, he walks over to the apple and he chews it like, good work. It's like he did in the first episode when he tipped the glass to himself in the mirror. He's feeling himself a lot. Now, after that, you see Walt, Jesse, and Mike counting the money, and they're missing like 300,000. And Mike tells Walt that this is what you have when you do business. You gotta pay off a lot of people. You gotta pay off the muse, all that stuff. 20% for everybody, 20%, 30% for them. And then Mike tells Walt about he tells Mike about let's see. He tells him about his people, and he's like, my people have the former employees of Gus. I'm taking care of them because they were my men, and they're keeping their mouth shut. And Walt was like, well, that sounds like blackmail to me. He's like, no, it's not blackmail. It's it's not blackmail. It's what you do as a boss. And he says, one line. He says, just because you shot Jesse James doesn't make you Jesse James. And Walt was like, he's like, this is not my problem. This is your problem because they're your guys. No, this is. And then Mike says, oh, this is our problem because we all partners in here and we all get money. We all partners. We all on the top. They're employees, but we have to take care of them in order for this to keep moving as smoothly as it moves. So he's like, oh, okay. And by the end of the time, you see Jesse and Walt bringing money, and the only thing they have left. At first, all three of them had $300,000, and at the end of deducting everybody's pay, including Mike's people, they only had $130,000 left. And Mike left, and Jesse and Mike has conversation, and Jesse breaks it off with Andrea in order to so he doesn't really like mess anything up. He doesn't want to bring her into a deeper, worse lifestyle. So after that, we see we hear a brief conversation with Jesse and Walt, and Jesse says, the reason why Gus killed Victor in season 4, in the beginning of season 4, Boss Cutter, it wasn't a message to me. It was a message to him to keep him alive, because he should have never did what he did. He should have stayed in his own place. And Jesse looks on like, wow, and I think it's another scene with Skyler and my fault. I'm, like I said, I'm literally remembering this stuff. Skyler hears some shots and stuff. She in the bed from after her mental breakdown, and she comes in and she sees Scarface. And this is, I'm not gonna say it again, but this is a great joy of Breaking Bad. This is so many Breaking Bad put down so many crazy cinematography right now in this episode that it's crazy. It was so in one episode, this symbolizing Walt You know, this symbolizing how Skyler sees Walt now as a Scarface. She doesn't see him as her husband, or she sees him as a Scarface, but she sees his life getting her family hurt, and she no longer can protect them from her. I mean, Skyler can no longer protect her family from Walt, because Walt is too dangerous for her to handle. And I don't know what kind of cards that Skyler gonna play. Like I said before, I really don't care about Skyler, but this is kind of will be a good dynamic to look at. That's why she sees, you know, the shooting and you know, the hotness of Scarface. You see, you know, Walt Jr. and the baby, you know, they're looking at a movie, and Walt, he's looking at a movie, but Skyler sees something else. She sees herself in it. She kind of sees her, like, she kind of sees the future, she kind of looking into the future of what Walt might become, like a Scarface, end up you know, rising to the top with the money and end up falling on his ass. And he might end up getting killed in a whole gun of blaze. My fault, that might be a spoiler. You know, but I think the episode ends right there. Now, this whole episode was about Walt learning the basics of how to be a boss. So he's not, as Mike says, he's not Jesse James. He only shot Jesse James. He has to work his ass off in order to be Jesse James, aka Gus. He's not there. He's working there. I think by the end of this season, at the end of these 8 episodes, yes, he might be at Gus's level. But right now, he's still climbing up that mountain. He's still climbing up Mount Gus, and he's doing a good job. But I hope he, you know, we all want to see him make it there. So, also, you know,